Hey Misfits, Tony Craft here. Today I'm going to show you a super easy beginner project for sewing and for crochet, and it's for teething rings. So if you have a baby shower coming up and you wanted to make something handmade but had no idea where to start, this is so easy. You're going to see how easy this is. So all you need for both of these projects is a pack of teething rings. You can get them on Amazon or elsewhere. Boil them before you use them, and then you need two types of fabric, a terry cloth and a plain cloth, or a fuzzy cloth, whatever you want to do, and a organic cotton yarn. That's it. And then, well, that's not really it. You also need a crochet hook, a sewing needle, thread, so on and so forth. But these are simple projects. This is really easy, and I'm excited to show you guys how to do this because I think this little thing took me like 10 minutes. It was so easy. I'm gonna make a bunch of these. I mean, these would be so cute as a rainbow set or something like that. Everybody loves a handmade gift, and if you don't, you're a jerk. So, you know, I love making handmade gifts. I think it's so special, especially for babies. We still have some of the toys from when my kids were born that I made, and I just love the fact that they still exist. It's a really cool thing. So stick around and we will make these awesome teethers. Thanks for watching, and hit subscribe before we start. Thank you. Okay, so to start this project, I've got my two types of fabric. One is a terry cloth to soak up drool, and one is just a nice thick fabric that isn't going to come apart as I chew it. And then we have a teething ring. Easy. You can usually buy these in a pack of 12 or so. So this is actually great if you have a bunch of baby showers coming up. You can buy a pack of 12, make 12, and there you go. There's all your gifts. So you have those, and then I just have some sewing needle, thread, and scissors. So this is a pretty simple project. You can, of course, use a sewing machine, but just for the sake of showing you the step-by-step, I'm going to do it by hand. So this will be a much faster project if you know how to use a sewing machine, but I'm going to show you can do it by hand if you don't have one. It should be pretty simple, okay? All right. So I've got my two types of fabric. One is sort of a gold pattern. This is a nice thick cloth. It's almost like an oilcloth, but not quite. And then this is just a hand towel. I didn't have any by the foot terry cloth, so I figured this matched well, so we're gonna use that. Okay, so we're gonna be cutting on the fold. If you don't know what that means, basically, if you go like this and open this up, you fold it, you're gonna be cutting here and not cutting the fold. That way when you have your shape, you open it up and you have double that shape. Okay, so we're going to be cutting on the fold for both pieces of fabric. And if you've been watching my show, you know that I don't follow directions very well, and I don't often use patterns. So I'm actually just going to hack away at this with my scissors. So what we're doing is we're making a long bunny ear shape, okay? So almost like a torpedo. And so we're looking at half a torpedo, unfold, whole torpedo. Does that make sense? So we're gonna put this to the side. And I know first of all the shape is 2 straight cuts. So that is easy enough. I'm just gonna follow my pattern here. It gives me a perfectly straight line. Put that scrap to the side. And here's my fold untouched still. And I'm going to do the same. I'm just going to follow those points on the pattern to give me a nice straight cut. Okay. And then to make the bunny ear torpedo shape, you're basically just going to curve this. Okay. So I'm just going to pick a spot where I'm going to start my curve. I think maybe right there. And I'm going to go up. And then I'm going to find that same spot on the other side. Let's see, right, it's this one. I'm going to go up. There we go. So now when we open it, we have our bunny ear torpedo shape. Hopefully that's long enough. You never know how things are gonna turn out. You never know. Okay, so let me just make sure that I have enough length on here. Okay, so then we're just gonna do the same thing on the terry cloth, and I'm just gonna actually use my first bunny ear as a pattern. Here we go. Okay, so now we've got torpedo terry cloth, torpedo yellow, and we're ready to go. So you want to put these what's called right side in. Okay, that means this side has a pattern, right? This side has a pattern, this side does not. So this is the wrong side, this is the right side. The terry cloth does not have a wrong or right side, so I'm just gonna go like this. Okay, so my wrong side is facing up, and we're just gonna throw a few pins in this to hold it down. Now when you hand sew, all you need is a needle and a thread. Got my needle there, I've got some nice sort of gold string here. Okay, pull your string through, bring it all the way even, and then you're going to at least double knot this. I usually do a bunch of knots. I like a big end knot, because all you need is one little tear and that knot can pop out, so I always do a bunch. Okay, got a nice fat knot there. Just gonna trim off those extra threads. When you're hand sewing versus machine sewing, you have to think about your stitch a little bit, because machine sewing really locks the thread in, it locks the stitch. So when you hand sew, if you're just going in and out, that's called a running stitch. That, if anything happens at any point to this, if a thread breaks somewhere, that can become unraveled really easily. So you can do a locking stitch, hand stitch. I encourage you to look that up if you've never done it before. It really helps to keep things together. And you don't have to do a locking stitch with every single stitch. You can do it every couple just to kind of get a lock there. Okay, so I'm just gonna start on the end here, and I'm gonna go about 1/4 of an inch in, which is about a centimeter. Okay, and I'm gonna do a locking stitch as my first stitch to get that in there. And for speed, I'm gonna do a running stitch. Again, if you wanna look up other stitches, you are welcome to do that, and it really is a helpful thing to know. Of course, I picked the smallest needle in the world to do this. All right, so now we've got our sewn single torpedo bunny ear, okay? I've left open a little piece. I probably should have left open that part in the middle somewhere, but I wasn't thinking. So now what you're gonna do is flip it inside out. I'm just kind of rolling it, trying to get that point of the bunny ear to come out. And there There it is. So in order to top stitch something, we want to close this up. So we're actually going to fold this in. Okay. I'm going to make a little fold there. And try to make it even with what the stitches had been doing prior to us flipping it inside out. Basically just pressing this. This is really such a quick project. Okay, so now all we need to do is close up that hole, okay? So there's lots of ways to do this. I personally like using a hidden stitch. But if you are a beginning sewer, if you're a beginner at this, you can really use any stitch to do this. Just as long as you're making sure that you have big enough knots and you're making tight enough stitches, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and bury my thread a little bit. This part can be tricky, hand sewing. If we were on a sewing machine, you would just easily go take your foot presser and go all the way around this, and you would get a top stitch that way. But since we're not using a sewing machine, we just need to close up this hole and we're gonna skip the top stitch. Okay. Hidden stitch is very useful if you make handmade toys. I'm seriously using the smallest needle. Why? Okay, how much? Okay, we're getting close. Okay, and we are there. So I am going to do lock stitch to close this off. Okay, now we have our torpedo shape, which is going to be our bunny ears. Okay, so we're going to take that and we're going to take one of these teething rings. Okay, so since I made my bunny ear too short for this ring, we're going to improvise. So I'm going to put this through here. See, this is what I mean, there's no mistakes. There's no mistakes, only happy accidents, right? I'm just gonna make little bunny ears with a little stitch. So let's rethread our needle. See, it's all about just letting go of any perfectionist attitude you may have. If you beat yourself up over things like this, let it go, man. Let it go. Just improvise. Because I'm not going to sit here and make the whole thing over again and then have this fabric scrap, right? I mean, I might in some cases if it's unfixable, but in this case, I think it's going to be just fine. And I'm going to hide my knot by doing it in the back here. I'm going to lock my stitch. Same thing on this side. Make a little crease in that ear. Nice and tight. And I'm just gonna go back through to the outside, somewhere in there. And I'm just going to do a couple little through stitches to make sure this ear is nice and connected. Tie that off really well, nice and tight. Snip that, and there we go. So we've got some bunny ears, pretty cute. It's goldenrod, and the ring independently spins, which we wouldn't have gotten if we had done it the other way. So I think that came out pretty cute. Nice little teething ring, and yeah. So there's teething ring number 1. Okay, so the second teething ring project that I'm going to show you for beginners is a crocheted teething ring. Now, if you don't know how to crochet, this is actually a pretty good project to start with. It's small, it's fast, and it only uses a couple stitches. For a teething ring, since the babies are going to have this all up in their mouths, you probably want to go with an organic cotton thread or an organic cotton yarn. This is not an organic cotton yarn, but I don't happen to have any on hand, so I'm going to use this to show you. But you can get organic cotton yarn in all kinds of colors and sizes. All right, so when you buy your yarn, it's going to tell you on here the size of needles that you need. So this says I need a 5.5 millimeter crochet needle. So I've got my pack of crochet needles here, and I'm gonna grab a 5.5. All right, we're gonna go with a 5. You're gonna start with a slip knot on your needle, okay? We're gonna do a single crochet to make a line. Single crochet is the easiest, most simple stitch in crochet, okay? So you yarn over and hook it, pull it through your first loop. Yarn over, hook it, pull it through your loop. It's that easy, okay? So we're just gonna do that until we see that we have some amount of length that we want. Okay, so I'm gonna take this, we're gonna look at our teething ring here. So this will bring me not quite halfway, which I think might actually be good. Good, not quite halfway. Let's do a couple more stitches here. So now we have our first line of crochet, okay? So now we want to turn around and connect and make more until we have a rectangle, okay? When you single crochet into a stitch, we're going to stick our needle in, sorry, keep saying needle, hook. We're going to stick our hook in, bring the yarn out, yarn over, pull through the loops, okay? In, yarn over, pull through the loops, in, hook, pull through the loops. You're just going to do this all the way down the line. The nice thing about crochet is it's incredibly repetitive. So it's fairly easy to learn in that sense, because once you get it, you're really just doing the same movements over and over and over again. So it's easy to keep going once you get it, I guess. Okay, so now we've got 2 rows, and we're just going to keep going until we are able to wrap around there, okay? And I'm showing you the single crochet here, but if you wanted to cover more ground faster, you could also do a double crochet or a triple crochet or another kind of stitch that you can look up. And that'll make this go by really fast. Because basically a single crochet gives you the height of a single crochet. A double crochet doubles, triple, etc., etc. So on and so forth. That's what I do. Yeah, that looks just about right. Okay, so I am going to knot this up. Okay. Okay, so now we have this little rectangle, which is going to be a sweater for the teething ring. So we're going to put that on. And now the only other tool that you need to finish this is a big needle. You can get one of these bigger plastic needles that is for yarn, but you can also use like embroidery needles or what do they call those? Like doll making needles. Anything with a large enough eye to put the yarn through should be fine. So what I did was, I'm not going to do a double thread on it, although you could. Oh, why don't we do a double thread? Maybe, why not? Let's see. Let's see how it happens. So we're going to do a double, we're going to knot it, just like in sewing. Okay. And we're just going to pull this guy around. I'm going to hide this knot like usual. The little locking stitch. There we go. Okay. Oops. We're basically just gonna sew these two ends shut. So I'm gonna go through every stitch here. It's a pretty fast project. You can make a bunch of these in a couple hours for sure. Okay, going all the way to the end where we have our other knot. Look at that. So cute. Okay. So now how are we going to, let's do a locking stitch here. Go ahead and cut that, and I might go ahead and join some of these tails here to give it a little extra security. And in the crochet world, what you do is instead of trimming your thread, you're going to hide your thread. So let's see. So I'm just gonna wiggle my hook through here and pull some of that thread through. Okay, and then once you have it pulled through a little bit, you can snip it. Now let's get this one pulled through. That's so cute! I actually really like this. You can make like a rainbow set of these, and it'd be really cute. So as long as this is organic yarn, they'll chew on the yarn, they'll chew on the wood, and that's really nice. I think this in a set would make an awesome baby shower gift. And you can be like, it's homemade! And I mean, these even look cute together, so you would really just need one more to call it a set. So I think this was a cool project. I mean, this thing only took, what, 10 minutes or something? So this is actually a really fast one. This one took a little bit longer, but not too bad. And if I had followed the directions and made it longer, it would have taken less time because I wouldn't have had to do that end stitch. So I actually think these are two really good beginner projects, and you have free gifts out of them. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the little teether tutorial for beginners. If you want to see me do any particular videos, please feel free to comment and let me know that. So please, if you haven't already, hit subscribe and like if you would. I really appreciate every single one of you. I hope you have a wonderful week ahead, and I hope you guys find some time to do something creative, okay? Thank you so much for watching. Really appreciate you.